mainly my question is, they said they voted yes again. Now,
So, yeah.
the issue is, and I understand it, when is it gonna, what's it gonna take for the procedure to be instilled, to be put on, to say, okay, next year, 2021, the girls and the boys wrestling state is gonna be at the same facility. Like, what's going on with that? Do you know anything about that?
I don't. Lindsay, do you know anything? Or Steve, do you know anything? Steve Hall, any word on that?
Yeah, so actually Coach White, Coach Crowder, and I will be presenting to the ADAC, which is one of the FHSAA committees. That meeting will be at the end of April. So if it's approved there, it's just got to go to the board of directors, which will happen at some point. So that date was postponed. So yeah, so I mean, that'll happen at some point this year. It's got to be approved there, and then it's just kind of like in their hands as far as when they're gonna decide that everything's gonna like go into place.
Can you guys see me?
We can't. I can't see you, Dan.
Listen, I'm really sorry. Facebook isn't allowing me to feed over to there. I don't know what to say. So can we, are people leaving? I'm sorry if people.
Well, let me ask you this. Can we record this and then post it at a later time onto Facebook, even if we can't go live on Facebook right now?
Yeah, I can record it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Same effect.
And let's do it. And then
absolutely.
I can in a few minutes as we're here, I can try to go back live. That wasn't me that time.
I wouldn't even worry about it, Dan. Don't even worry about it, because most people are going to look at it tonight after it's posted anyway. So
yeah, we only get a couple of views during the day, and then
exactly. So as long as we can record it and post it, we're good.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's talk then. So, hey, ladies, we'll get your voice heard. I promise. I'm so sorry. It's been happening 2 days ago. It took me like 30 minutes to get on live with folks out there. So, again, apologies. One of my big things was to bring you girls all together and your coaches, and just create a platform to get your voice heard, especially what you guys are doing. That's amazing. So, I'd like to just go around the room and let everybody have the opportunity to speak on, why and how wrestling is important to you. And Lindsay, go ahead, elaborate on what you'd like the girls to kind of tell FHSAA.
Okay, so like the whole goal behind the videos that started being posted, actually that was Miss Reese's idea. She's here with Kaylee. So I kind of just wanted to reach out to people and have the girls especially kind of just talk about their experiences, why wrestling's been so great for them, or like why they love wrestling, and why they do deserve the same opportunities as their male counterparts. So it's kind of just open-ended. Everybody's got their own story, everybody's got their own experience, and everybody deserves to be able to share that.
So let's do it. Let's go around the room. We'll start with you go ahead, Shelby.
Wrestling for me, like, it's like basically changed my life. Like it's made me like so much more athletic, and it's given me like a better outlook on life, and like I'm losing like the words for it. But
Okay.
It's all right. Take your time.
Yeah. Like it just teaches me like a lot of like life lessons that other sports haven't really done that for me, and I just think we deserve the same opportunities as our male counterparts, because like in the wrestling room, at least for us, like we're really close with our guy teammates, and it just kind of sucks when we don't get to like have the same experience at like state or regionals like that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think for the boys, having the big arena to look forward to, and the podiums, and the actual FHSAA medals, and the big bracket sheets, you guys deserve that. You've worked just as hard, in my opinion, there's no difference. I mean, the girls working just as hard as the guys. You guys are doing the same off-season training that they're doing. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever that this should not be sanctioned, and the girls, getting that same experience. Just because they're girls, gender means absolutely nothing. They have the same love, they have the same desire, they have the same motivation, they have the same heart, they have the same drive, they have the same work ethic, if not better. Why shouldn't it be sanctioned? There's just no reason for it.
Sure. So let's go to Kelly. Go ahead, Kelly. Or do you want to, who was just trying to talk, Matt?
Me, Coach.
Coach, go ahead, Coach.
Coach, just to like, I guess I want to clear things up and I guess give up like a description of what we're trying to talk about, like the opportunity wise, like they are going to get the opportunity wise. This is my understanding. The issue that I'm having, or that a lot of girls are having, or a lot of people in general, is that when is it going to happen? So I think that the attention is now, okay, they say, yes, it's going to happen. Well, when are they going to do it? And that's, I think, when they hear these girls, they could make it more of a priority. In other words, that's what I'm trying to say, to prioritize them as not just, okay, we'll get to that part of the agenda later on and just keep dragging it. Or, well, let's have a vote again and say, yes, let's do it. But they haven't gotten to it yet. And I know it's not easy.
Lindsay touched on that a little bit, because somebody posted something in Lindsay, you had responded. Was it?
It was Joe Blasucci.
Yeah, and he's
correct. Yes,
it is passed.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm referring to. Yes.
Yeah. So, the comment kind of made it sound like it's already like set in stone, like it's guaranteed, and
correct.
While I think it's awesome to look forward to it in that way, I think Coach White can also kind of talk about that, because he is on the Wrestling Advisory Committee, but it does still have to be voted on 2 more times before it is approved. So I think they are anticipating, like nobody's really concerned about the ADAC meeting, the meeting that's coming up at the end of April. I think we're all really confident about that because it passed through last year. But I mean, I'm not gonna believe that it's gonna happen until it actually is voted on and it goes through. So,
Coach White, talk a little bit for us about what's going on, man. Like, can you hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the deal. It is a 2-year process, and last year was the first year of this process. So as he said, it went through the Wrestling Advisory Committee unanimously. It went through the AD Committee unanimously. So this year started the 2nd year. It went through the Wrestling Advisory Committee unanimously. Here in 2 weeks, me, Lindsay, and Mike Crowder are going to meet before the ADAs or before the athletic directors. There is no way possible they cannot vote unanimously again. And then it goes before the executive board. What me and Lindsay have already been texting, and we're going to talk this weekend. We're going to outline exactly how we think this needs to be implemented, so that there's no reason they don't implement it here. Now, with that being said, it's 100% up to FHSAA. Is it going to be sanctioned? Absolutely. We're going to put everything out there so that they have no reason not to implement it next year.
Let me ask you this, Coach, not to cut you off. If everything goes perfect, if everything goes the way that you want it to go, when's the soonest that we can see this happen?
We can have it done next year.
So they can be wrestling next season as a sanction at Silver Spur. Beautiful.
That's the goal.
Beautiful.
Now, there are going to be some differences between the boys and the girls.
Right.
We are initially we initially are going to start off with just regions.
Okay.
Just because we're not at the district level yet. We cannot.
And I agree with that.
So we'll start off at the region level.
I think boys should start at regions too, but that's a whole other conversation.
I am not going to argue that, having seen some of the 1A I'm not even going to get into some of that.
Exactly.
I coached boys for 14 years. This is my first year just coaching girls.
Okay.
So we're going to start off at the region level. Top 4 girls in each region are going to qualify for states. This is what we are going. Me, Lindsay, Crowder are going to tell the FHSAA what the best possible way to get this done. And we've already talked with those. I have run a regional tournament. You guys have been to Silver Spurs. I've been to Silver Spurs. You can run a state tournament. You can run a 16-man bracket on 3 mats.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we have talked with Rick Tribbett, who basically runs the state tournament. He said they can get more mats in that arena.
Yeah.
The logistics should not be an issue. We're going to lay it out for them. And realistically, I know some of you guys, but if you're a 3A guy, you may not be familiar. I came from a 2A school. Our region goes from the Panhandle all the way down to New Smyrna Beach.
Wow.
It's massive. So starting off at regions is feasible.
So that's kind of what we're looking at. And that's great because now you kind of educated all of us on the process of what's happening. So we started with Shelby. Let's go around the room. I really want to get the girls heard here. So go ahead. Is that Lately? I totally screwed that up.
Yeah, that's it.
So let's start there, and we'll just kind of go through and let you girls, pour out your emotions and talk about your wrestling, what it's meant to you, and why they should sanction it.
Well, I started wrestling my sophomore year in high school, and it's honestly changed my life for a lot of it. I mean, before wrestling, I never thought of doing anything. So I was just just graduating, and then I got into wrestling, and it just changed me. Like, I feel like a new person. I feel like I'm not that same person I was before I started wrestling. So it's been pushing me to do more and more and more. Like, I get sad that I'm not training right now, but still go outside for runs, and I still work stuff out because that's how much I love this sport. I want to keep doing it. I enjoy doing it. And it's hard not having it sanctioned, especially since I'm going to college, but I would love to see it grow more, to see other girls get more into the sport, to have them to get that experience that we never experienced. So I feel like getting a sanction is a big thing. It's huge. And it would mean a lot to everyone. Me seeing the girls community grow more into the sport, and we deserve to be treated equally. I mean, we all work as hard. We all work off season. We all are dedicated to the sport as much as the guys are. So to have a region and to work our way into the state is a huge opportunity, a huge step up in our wrestling community.
Totally agree. So let's go over that. And thank you for that. And your voice will be heard. And Martine. Hey,
Martine.
Names, if I messed up your name, it's okay. I apologize.
It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, everybody gets it hard sometimes. Okay, my name is Martine. I'm at Freedom High School. I started wrestling my 8th grade summer because we had a program that they would let the middle schoolers come. And honestly, wrestling wasn't my first choice. I was dragged into wrestling, and I'm actually glad I was dragged into it, because if I was never dragged into wrestling, I would not be the woman I am today. I would have been down a whole different path. And wrestling is just that time that when you go into the room, you just forget everything, and it's all about you working hard on the mat, and it's like you're getting done what you have to get done. And I feel as if women's wrestling was sanctioned, it'd give many other girls an opportunity to experience the sport, to see how fun it is, to see, what they can get done. Because I don't graduate until next year, but I am very excited, and I would hope that more colleges get to open up, a girls division to give us, an experience to go to different states and do different, and not just the little states that we have. I feel like it would just give girls a better opportunity.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. Kalani.
Hi.
Hey.
So I've been wrestling for about 4 years now, and wrestling, man, it has changed my complete life. I mean, I stepped into a room filled with mats, and I didn't even know how to do anything. And I'm really thankful for my coaches because of that. But it has created so many opportunities for me because not only have I been traveling to go to tournaments, I have met so much people. I have been able and been thankful to like go to college for wrestling. I'm actually attending Limestone in the fall.
Congratulations.
It definitely has showed me that when you step out on the mat, you don't only represent yourself, you represent everyone that has put in the same work into you.
Yeah.
And it has definitely, I just hope that these girls get the opportunity to have the sport sanctioned, even though I'm going to be leaving, but it will be definitely an amazing opportunity to see these girls that work so hard
to be able to come back
in that arena.
Right? It'll be great for you to come back to a room and coach.
Yeah. I hope so. I'll be coming. I'll be helping my girls.
Yeah. All right. I see Brianni M.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Thanks for being here.
No problem. So I started wrestling this year. I'm actually a soccer player, and my coaches are the ones that got me into wrestling. And at first I was hesitant about joining because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to do this. And then when I stuck with it, I started to like love the sport, and it got me in shape with soccer and a bunch of other sports. And I love my teammates. They pushed me to be the best person I could be, and wrestling really helped with my mental mindset and pushed me to be a better person.
So you said you were a soccer player?
Yes.
Well, guess what? Now you're a wrestler that plays soccer.
There you go. Okay, let's move over. Hey, Matt, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. What would you like to say?
I was just looking on the computer a little bit, and there's 48 colleges now that have collegiate women programs, correct? Or somewhere around that area, and that number's growing every single year. I think the FHSAA would be doing a disservice to not allow that, to sanction it here in the state of Florida, to allow our female scholar athletes to continue their education while in a collegiate program.
I agree. Thank you so much. I see we have Rachel Ferrader. Rachel? Let's say Rachel.
Yeah.
I did good.
So I started wrestling my freshman year, and I really didn't know what I was getting into. I started wrestling because my brother was wrestling, but I've fallen in love with this sport, and it pushes you harder than any other sport that I've played. Like, I play 5 sports, and this is by far the hardest. But it's also the best because you reach places that you didn't think you could. They push you mentally, they push you physically, and overall it makes you into a better person. And we work just as hard as the guys, and we are in that room always pushing. And so that's why I think that girls wrestling deserves to be sanctioned as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Julia.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thanks for coming on.
Of course. I feel that wrestling really opened up my eyes to many things. Like, I love that how wrestling is an independent sport, because I came from volleyball, which is like a team. We all do everything together. Like, to get the ball over the net, you need to go three passes, you know? So, like, wrestling really, like, it's an emotional sport, and I love that about it because it really shows me, like, how much I love the sport as a person, you know? And that's why I feel like we should have the same type of, like, you know, environment of the guys. Like, they go to a stadium, we go to a school, you know? So I just feel like we all need to be equal, and it's like we all love the sport just as much. So yeah,
absolutely.
That's why I just feel that we should all, like, it should be equal. We should have this wrestling sanctioned in Florida.
Thank you. Brandon.
Hey, Dan, real quick.
Yeah.
She said that the guys wrestle in an arena, and they have to wrestle in a high school. Well, back when I was wrestling in high school, back in 1982, when these girls weren't even born yet, probably. Were you guys born in 82? Probably not, right? Oh my God, I am old. Holy cow. So we wrestled in a high school. We didn't have arenas. I don't even know. Maybe one of the coaches that's on here knows when the boys wrestling actually started going to arenas and different venues, because maybe the 90s sometime, but I know from 82, 86, 88 even, it was still in high schools. So girls, you're going to get there, but the boys started the same exact way. But I agree, you guys definitely deserve to have that atmosphere, you know, because it's a big event. It means something. And, you know, to wrestle in a high school gym, there's nothing special about that. You do that for dual meets and for regular tournaments. The state tournament needs to be something special. So, you know, whoever's listening, these girls need this thing to get done now, man. It's sanctioned, whatever. It's got to pass votes. Do it now. Get it done this first time around because they deserve it. All right, I'm done. My rant is over.
Brandon.
I just think this thing, the girls wrestling has been exploding tremendously over the past few years. And I mean, wrestling is a sport that makes better people in general. And I think if they sanction this sport, you're going to see even more girls come out and start wrestling. It's going to grow even more. If you look at the state tournament from this past season, the girls' state tournament, it was huge. It was ginormous. And those girls deserve the same atmosphere, the same awards from the FHSAA that the boys get. At this point, it just seems to me it should be a no-brainer to be sanctioned and let them have their time and grow from there.
I agree, and thank you for that. Riley.
Hi. So, I started wrestling because, well, I knew I wanted to be on a team in high school. I did cross country, and then I kind of fell into wrestling because my two older brothers wrestled, and then my dad's a coach. So, wrestling means a lot to me. It showed me that hard work pays off. It taught me discipline. I really like making new friends in it, and the whole team ethic. You all have to work hard together, but when you're on the mat yourself. I think we should be sanctioned because we already have a lot of depth in Florida. Like my freshman year, we wouldn't have this many girls like ranked nation. So it would help us have more depth, and it would help us have more colleges come out and look at Florida.
Awesome, I agree. Now it says Dell's iPad.
How you doing?
How are you?
Good. I'm a coach at Cypress Creek, assistant coach, and my boys wrestle there, and Stephanie wrestles there too, also. So
excellent. Welcome. Thanks for coming on.
I'll let her talk mostly.
Put her on the spot.
I grew up around wrestling. My brothers started wrestling first, and then I just was always too scared to wrestle. But then I started wrestling in my 6th grade year, and I've wrestled ever since then. But I was like kind of forced into it by my wrestling coach when I went up to my brother's practices over summer. I was like, I don't want to do this. But then once I started doing it, I started falling in love with it, and it just came natural to me. And I've just always worked with my brothers now. So, like, I've seen how hard they've worked to try and get to that point, and I think we deserve the same thing.
I agree with you. And we're about to go to somebody who knows the women's wrestling very well, and Steve Hall and his daughter, they call her affectionately, they call her Bug, right? Yeah. And she is somebody.
I got to know, where'd that come from?
So, for forever, like when she was born, she was my little Hannah Bug. And
I figured it was something like that.
Just a bug, and then it just turned into this thing, and I don't know.
Love it.
Never called her anything else.
So I didn't even know her first name until last week.
Good.
So this is.
I'm kidding.
Steve and Hannah Hall. So obviously, Steve, you are very well versed in women's wrestling here in the state of Florida and in the nation. So first, of course, Hannah, give your thoughts, and then Steve, obviously, where you've seen this side of the sport come from and where you believe it can go.
For me, I've been wrestling for 6 years now, and I've always felt like I need to prove something when I go into any room, because usually if I go into a room, I'm the only girl in that room, and there might be 3 other girls there, but then there's only 4 of us still. And anytime I go into a room, it's It's hard to find drill partners because the guys don't really want to drill with you because they haven't seen the competition. They haven't seen that girls really know how to wrestle, and it's not something that should be belittled on or anything along those lines. And if it's just able to get in the same arena as the guys, maybe they could see that, and it could open their eyes a little bit just to the fact that we're all on the mat for the same reason, and just because of our gender, there shouldn't be another stressor on us to have to prove something every time we're on the mats.
For sure. And you're somebody that you travel the nation to a lot of these girl tournaments. And I mean, how much has it grown? I mean, I'm sure you were going to the gyms at one point and being the only girl in there, and now you're going to the gyms and you've got legit competition, I would guess.
Yeah, it's grown a lot. The first time I traveled nationally was to a J camp, and I was the only girl at the entire camp. And now anytime I go anywhere to camps or tournaments, I always have brackets from anywhere from 16 to like 64-man brackets. And it's growing.
Wow, that's awesome. Go ahead, Steve. I know this is near and dear to your heart, so I'll give you the platform.
Yeah. So I posted something yesterday on this. I think one of the reasons I'm getting as involved as I am in just trying to get this over the hump is, you know what, this needs attention brought to it. The girls deserve to be recognized for the amount of work they're putting in. Like I said on my video yesterday, it's not that we're not getting the work done. I mean, we've got national champions, we've got All-Americans, we're placing in the national tournaments as a dual team. We're getting the work done. What I think is getting missed is the recognition. So, I know it's very disheartening, and I'll share a little bit of personal, but we've had it even here. Hannah's won 2 state championships, and I would go on to say that it hasn't really been recognized. I mean, the school that doesn't want to supply a state championship ring. We had to do that ourselves. I mean, we've even battled with as much as getting our name on a board. So just because it's not by FHSAA, So at the end of the day, once FHSAA sticks their brand on it, then nobody can deny the legitimacy of it, and those girls will get the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, and I mean, even in my short time, Lindsay had a girl at at George Jenkins that this is a 35, I don't know anybody who's been to the George Jenkins tournament, but this is a big 35, 40 team tournament, and she took, second or third, Lindsay, in the boys bracket?
She's actually in here, so she could,
is that
Kaylee
up there?
I took 5th.
Fifth, but still, that was in the boys bracket, and they shouldn't have the same platform. I mean, she beat just about everybody there. So I agree, and I'm sure, Steve, you see plenty at the talent level that that not a lot of boys can beat. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, I would take our top level girls against most of the boys. I don't like to compete a ton against boys anymore. We do it as we needed to. But this year I think she was like 25-4 against the boys, and we were wrestling 3A, and we're a top 10 team, so we were wrestling the hard schedule. So it's not that it can't be done, right? It's just, why should it have to be? Why should she have that extra stress of having to know that she's having to compete against the extra, having to compete against boys that are they're uncomfortable as well. They don't want to wrestle her. They would prefer them to have their own styles or group as well.
I agree with you. And let's get around Kaylee. So I didn't, I'm used to seeing you in headgear, so I didn't know that was you. And but go ahead and speak about your experience and everything.
So I've been wrestling for 8 years now, and for most of those 8 years, I've had to wrestle guys. I grew up wrestling guys, and from my personal experience for wrestling on my all-girls team, it is completely different. Everything that you do, walking in the room and just going to these tournaments and it's like you have a family, and you can, it's like you're going into like battle with each other. Like you're there to stick with each other and go through all the hard times and all your losses and all your wins. You'll do everything with them. And I feel like everybody should be able to experience something like that, because if we sanction it, girls will be able to finally be able to have that family and not have to be ignored by the guys that don't really accept that the girls are in here to do the same exact thing. And that's how it used to be with me. Like I would walk into my club room and these kids had to ask their parents if they could like warm up with me, and like just blew like I was like, are you serious? Like we're all here for the same thing. I'm just here to get in better work and just try to wrestle my best. So me, I feel like sanctioning it's a no-brainer to me, because even though we're not all the same, we're all doing the same thing on the mat. All of us want to win. All of us want to have a competition. We all want to wrestle. So I feel like it's a no-brainer for sanctioning.
Well, and Lindsay and the Bush brothers are doing a great job over there building that program. So good for you guys. So Carolina, this is how we all got here. I asked you to come on. You had said we should get all the girls on here together. So here they are, Carolina and friends. So let's get your voice heard.
I'm a junior in high school and I've been wrestling for 3 years, and I feel like it's more about just getting a state tournament and getting the state tournament like in a big stadium. I feel like it's more about getting the same respect and the same recognition as the boys do. When we do the same thing and we work just as hard, it's just getting the recognition and everything that we deserve. And like I've walked into wrestling rooms with boys. My first couple of years wrestling, I did have to wrestle boys, and it's just a disadvantage. Like they are bigger, they are stronger. Like it's not able to be done. Like, you can do it, but it's just difficult. And you feel uncomfortable, the boys feel uncomfortable. It's just a whole mess. Like I've been in wrestling rooms where I've been trying to wrestle boys and we've been drilling, and they acknowledge that I need a partner, and they just don't want to drill with me because I'm a girl.
And the thought of you whooping them.
And like I feel like girls wrestling needs to be bigger. Like you can go tell a boy, oh, I'm a state champ, and they'll be like, oh yeah, you're a girl state champ. It doesn't matter.
Well, I definitely see down in South Florida there where the Gladiators are trying to build something down there. So hopefully that'll leak up there into Miami Gardens and the area you're in, and HML and all that. I saw somebody sneak in. Was that you, Arabella?
Hi, yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on.
Okay. So, I'm a first-year wrestler. I just started wrestling, and before wrestling, like my whole life, I've been a straight A student. My parents have just got me focused on school, and like I never really thought about sports until like this year. And so I had to beg my parents for me to wrestle, and like my dad has like he kind of judges the fact that I wrestle, and I don't know, I feel like that pushes me to do better when more people are around you, like when more people doubt like your abilities. Like wrestling just continues to push me to do better and like have this stronger mindset, and like everything I do now, like all I do is think about wrestling. And even though like it's my first year and I'm just getting started, but like it's kind of taken over my life, and I've never really experienced anything like that before. So yeah.
Good for you. And I understand. I mean, I don't have a daughter. I have a son, and he wrestles, and it's taken over his life. I mean, he watches the matches. He watches the tournaments. He tells me stuff. He's like, you don't know what you're talking about. That guy doesn't. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I just like going to the rooms. But so I know we heard from White, and I know Ricky spoke briefly, but I think that we all want to hear from Miss Lindsay.
Oh, okay.
There she is.
Well, no, first of all, like, you guys are all awesome. Everybody that shared anything. Like, I'm sitting over here, like, I'm getting emotional because I'm so proud. Obviously, like, several of my girls are in here. But it really is so awesome listening to everybody from across the state. One thing that I think is pretty evident is that everybody does want the same opportunity. I've heard the word opportunity 1,000 times because that's what this is about. You know, and the thing is, whether FHSAA does decide to implement girls wrestling for 2021, whether that happens or not, these girls are going to continue to work. They're going to continue the grind. And, our goal is literally just to present it to them in such a way that like they can't say no for next year. So, I mean, yeah, they pretty much said it all. So
I see one of your coaches is in here, but he doesn't want to come on as a visual. I see Michael Bush is listening. I know you're listening out there if you want to come in and speak.
are any of the Freedom Girls surprised by that?
No, I see his name in the room, but I don't see him. So
nope. Coach Bush is kind of he's the man behind the scenes. I think as a female, I get a lot of credit for what's happening with the girls, but Coach Mike is, he's a fantastic clinician, a fantastic strength and conditioning coach. He's kind of the backbone of, a lot of what we're doing at Freedom. So he won't give himself any credit, but I will.
Well, he's there now. Coach White or Ricky Marcus. Anything that you guys want to say, or Steve Hall, or any of the coaches in the room? Is there anything that you guys want to add on to this?
I have one thing. I'm very fortunate. I've been coaching, like I said, here at Matanzas High School. This is year 15 for me. Last year, I decided to step down from the boys and give the girls full time. I went from having 6 girls to having 18 girls just by me committing to the girls altogether. The other thing that, has been stressed, all these girls have said it. I have been fortunate and my daughter said it, Riley, she has grown up in a wrestling family. I got to not only coach, but watch my boys wrestle. My oldest son wrestled at Lakeland, and my youngest son wrestled at Silver Spurs. They both got to, see that. I would love for these girls. Obviously, I would love to coach my daughter next year at Silver Spurs. So I hope FHSAA does the right thing. We're working hard on our end. Me and Lindsay, Steve Hall, Adderley, to try to get that, as well as tons of other coaches are helping out. We need these girls to continue putting the pressure on them so that, these, not just the athletic directors, but the executive board, that's really where it's going to come in, is the executive board. They do the right thing and they implement it next year.
Absolutely. Any of the other coaches? Steve?
I'd like to just kind of add to that really quick, if possible. I was actually talking to one of the other coaches today, and, a lot of people who don't coach girls or maybe have 1 or 2 girls have said, well, what's the big deal? What's 1 more year? Well, how many girls are going to graduate in that 1 more year and they're not going to get that chance? They're going to have to sit here, and go to these tournaments where, no offense to like the officials or anything like that, but we had officials training in the state finals, and that's not fair to the girls. How many girls are going to graduate having to deal with refs who are training at their state tournament? How many girls are going to have to deal with, the weight changes and the weight certification issues and all the other things that these girls have had to deal with on, a season by season basis, where, consistency and recognition and all those things are, those are super important for the infrastructure of the sport, and those girls deserve that too. So the sooner the better, and fingers crossed for next year. So
absolutely. And please, let's have an open floor here. If there's other things that need to be said, or if anybody else has feelings to get out, let's do it.
Well, the only thing I really want to add to that is, Florida, we got great coaches. We need to let them coach. I think it's crazy that we're sticking these coaches in a silo of boys and saying that, they need to focus all their efforts there. I think we really need to, open this up, give those coaches the opportunity to, get that exposure to the girls. I mean, we do have a lot of girls, again, that are nationally ranked, that travel, that have, been fortunate enough to, have the means to be able to do that. But that's the only way that they're getting recognized right now. Unless, the coaches have, some deep connections to some colleges, they're having to travel to get noticed. We legitimize this. We get these girls on a big floor. You've got, coaches that want to come to our state tournament more than the 2 or 3 that we currently get, at a time. And guess what? More girls are going to get an opportunity to wrestle in college, more girls get an opportunity to get education. So 1 year is too long.
Totally agree. Anybody else? Ricky, you got something to say?
Hey, this is Matt Johnchuk from Olympic Heights down in South Florida.
Hey, how are you, sir?
How you doing? The one thing I don't know if anybody's brought it up. I was thinking about it a little bit. The FHSAA roster you have to submit every year with your kids or whatnot. They keep saying we have 750 active female wrestlers, but only 350 go to the state tournament this year. So I don't put that on the girls. I put that a lot on some of these coaches who are not taking the time out to get the girls to the tournaments that they need to get to.
Yep.
I think with sanctioning, with FHSAA sanction it, it'll allow the smaller schools, and I'm a 1A school, South Florida. So this year was the first year I was able to go up to Dr. Phillips to wrestle in their January tournament. And I've only had 2 years of girls, but it was, for me, it's a logistics issue. And I think when FHSAA starts to sanction it, the Lee County, Collier County schools will start building their programs up to where it makes it easier for me, but also it gets the funding. So we get 2 supplements, and we're on a varsity schedule, not a boys wrestling, but it's a varsity wrestling program. And my girls at 106 and 126 step in and fill those spots on the varsity wrestling. But it's just manpower that we don't have in our rural district.
One of the cool things about.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, ladies first.
No, sorry. Just one of the cool things about the infrastructure that we are hoping to implement, it does make it to where you don't have to be in 2 places at once. Like there have been some years where Girls State, JV State, and the Orange County Metro Tournament are all on the same weekend. And we're fortunate enough to where, we've got the Bush brothers, we've got Coach Randall, and we've got myself, but a lot of other schools don't have, the coaching staff that we have, and they can't, they end up having to make choices who goes where, or, who's going to get left out of going to a tournament because we don't have the coaching staff. So with the state tournament and the state series structure that we're hoping gets put into place, you don't have to worry about being in more than one place at a time, so everybody's
running 2 different district tournaments.
Right. And Coach White and I, actually the whole WAC, I'm not on that. I just kind of show up, but but the rest of those guys, they have suggested that we run the girls regional the same week as the boys district, because those 2 tournaments can be hosted at the same time. Because a lot of those districts are small enough to where you can knock that tournament out in, several hours, whereas with the region, it may be a 2-day tournament. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that, host teams can kind of play with that idea. But it should, fingers crossed, make it easier for people to get to both places. So.
Well, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but if we were to sanction this, then there'll also be allocated stipends. And I'm going to imagine that there'll be rules in place where people have to take the district.
See, that's my point with the sanctioning is don't get me wrong, I want to believe 90% of the coaches in Florida are doing it to coach, but when you have these other when you have to pick between tournaments or whatnot, these coaches are picking the boys tournaments. When we sanction it, they're going to be forced to do the right thing. Lack of a better word, they're going to be forced to do the right thing when it's sanctioned.
How does sanctioning force them? Explain that for people that may not understand.
Well, the way I understand it, again, I'm not involved in any of this. I'm just the guy in the wrestling room, coaching the kids. Mm-hmm. But if we get another stipend, that goes on our sports list.
Okay.
Where now if you're under, like, you know the BCAAs, right?
Yep.
You have to be a member of the BCAAs to
Right.
compete at the BCAAs. If you're
Yep.
not a member, you don't get to go.
Right.
So if girls become a member of the FHSAA, they have to have a state tournament, regional tournament for them. They can't say, oh, well, if you want to, we'll just go host it over here on this date or whatnot.
Understood. Okay. Now it makes
Yeah.
sense.
And let me clarify one thing. You know, I think there's like 700 something schools in Florida. Only 369 of those have a wrestling program. So, you know, sanctioning the girls doesn't require every single school to have girls wrestling. But if you're going to get that stipend, if you're going to, you know, be paid for being a women's coach, then you do have to have a schedule. You have to take your girls to events, and you have to have a roster. So, like in Orange County, we already have like if you're an Orange County coach, you have a supplement for girls wrestling. So in order to keep that supplement, you do have to actually do what you're saying and take those girls to tournaments. They have to have that set schedule with so many events, you know, and they have to have there have to be girls, like any number of girls competing on that roster. So
Are any other school districts looking at like hiring freezes or position freezes where they can't add new positions to that?
That is a question, I believe, that is above my experience. Coach White, do you have anything on that one?
Probably right now, because of the situation we're in, that might be the case. But I think what we're going to see is once we come out of this, once it gets sanctioned, we'll see things change. And like Lindsay said, you know, you've got to be, and Matt has said, all it takes is for a coach, even an assistant coach, to commit to the girls, and you're gonna see growth. And I think if we get some families involved, we get some other coaches involved, you're going to see an explosion with the girls program. The Tallahassee, the region, when I coached the boys, we had to go to, you know, the Panhandle, Tallahassee, and all the Tallahassee coaches tell me their county is just waiting on it to get sanctioned. And when it does, they expect it to explode in Tallahassee.
Well, that's the thing is when you legitimize it for, you know, when the state committee or the state association legitimizes it for the girls, it also kind of does a better job of legitimizing it for the coaches. So I think more coaches will be willing to take those steps when FHSAA says, okay, like, this is legit. So.
Yeah, that's if I could jump in, that's the thing. Like I said, Coach White said it only takes one coach. And not only that, when it's sanctioned, you're going to have that position. So you're going to want to go out there and recruit. I started this for my daughter and my niece. You know, I love the sport, but, you know, I saw that they couldn't compete. They didn't have it. We had to drive far or whatever. So I just took interest into it. But as soon as we started getting into it and we started getting the word out, right after the season finished, we started our freestyle season. We had 30 plus girls in the wrestling room. And I shared the pictures with you guys and stuff like that. But that was, I mean, we were going to get more. So I think, like we said, when I originally made that video, I think it was more towards like the coaches and like after it's sanctioned, because I heard that it was already approved to go out to the girls, you know. So that'll bring definitely up the numbers and stuff like that. So
yeah, Ricky, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I just had to step away, but I'm still here listening.
All right. Did you want to voice your opinion here? I mean, you've been around for a long time.
I think everybody knows my opinion. I mean, I think it's long overdue. I think it's a shame that it hasn't been done already, but now we're on the right track. But people need to stop dragging their feet, stop putting it off, you know. It's time. Let's get this thing done. Let's get whoever it needs to get in front of needs to get in front of. They need to just, you know, set a day, say this is when we're going to, you know, vote on it or whatever. And that's it. Let's get it done, man. These girls should be wrestling in an arena next season. I mean, to put it off for a whole nother year, it's just ridiculous. Now you're wasting another year, and the girls that are going to be seniors miss out on that opportunity, and it's just not right.
It's voting and voting.
Yeah, exactly. Enough.
So I've been recording this, girls. So as soon as we get off, I'll download it and I'll get it into the right spot so we can get it onto Facebook and get you guys heard. I'll also put it on YouTube as well, and I'll send out a link of the YouTube video so you guys can feel free to share it with whomever and wherever you want to share it. I apologize that we didn't go live. I just was feeling all day the one video that would give me a nuisance today would be this one.
As long as it gets posted, it's going to be seen.
Yeah. So.
And one more question for Leidali, because I got a bet with my niece, with Natalie. Is it Leidali or Leidali?
It's Leidali.
Leidali.
Yeah.
Who won?
Cost me $20.
Ah.
All right.
Well, we can't do Ricky. We cannot do Ricky's 10 questions because we'd be here for another 2 hours. So.
Yeah.
That was my last one.
Well, you could pick one coach and I can fire away.
Who haven't you done in here? Steve Hall.
Yeah, let's get Steve. No, you know what? Let's get Bug.
Better.
All right, Bug, you ready? 10 questions. You got a single word answer. You ready?
Okay.
Folk style or freestyle?
Yeah.
Headgear or no headgear?
No headgear.
Singlet or two-piece?
Singlets.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Ice cream cake or birthday cake?
Birthday cake.
She's the first one that said birthday cake. Everybody else has said ice cream cake.
She wants ice cream on the side. She wants
Saltwater or freshwater?
Saltwater.
Rap or country?
Country.
Car or pickup truck?
Car.
Ocean or swimming pool?
Ocean.
Popeyes or Chick-fil-A?
Popeyes.
Whoa! That surprised me. Awesome. Thanks, Bug.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you so much. And I appreciate all you girls coming on and the coaches. And I'm just a guy that has a kid that wrestles, that is taking advantage of the platform to talk and learn wrestling. And I just felt like this would be a good platform for you guys to use to be able to get your voice out there. So
real quick, Dan, Kaylee.
Yes.
Still there? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Kaylee's sister's next to her. She might want to say something.
Oh, that's my mom.
I know, I'm joking.
All right, ladies, I'll see you, and I'll get this recording up.
Take care,
Thanks a
guys.
lot.
It was
Thanks a lot, guys.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Bye, Adam.